that wasn't too bad. Just a bit of a check over. Getting to that age, I was a sunburnt kid when I was younger, and hair's thinning a little bit on top, and I had this little thing up here which I've scratched and picked at, froze it, so the head's a little sore at the moment, but it wasn't anything bad. It was just something you get from the sun when your hair gets thin, I guess. And I've had sunburnt scalps when I was younger and that sort of stuff, so just got to look after that. Start wearing a hat. My wife said there's some, you can get a spray on sunscreen for your scalp, so I might look into that. There's a Woolies and there's a Coles up here, and I'm gonna go up to Coles and get a few things that you can't usually get at Woolies. My wife said since I'm coming up here, may as well. That was a much bigger shop than anticipated. Same thing as last time. Wife at home putting things on the app. Me in the store getting them and taking them off. So it's about, oh crap, it's up past 2. I didn't realise it was that late. What was it? Oh, I was at the doctor's at 11, so anyway, shopping took a lot longer than expected, and as I came out, this place was operational. It's like a pop-up cart thing in the shopping centre. They're the ones that does the vegan donuts, so I grabbed some of those, and while I was waiting, there's a sushi bar just behind it, and they had a cucumber and avocado. So cucumber, avocado, rice wrapped in a decent sized roll. And she goes, would you like soy sauce with it? And I said yes. And then I said, hang on, can you tell me whether it's got oyster or fish in it? And she couldn't, but I'm considering the fact that the little soy sauce packet things they have shaped like fish, it might. So no salty sauce on this, but there's enough flavour just in the seaweed. I guess this is better than buying a packet of chips or something. Now I'll taste it with a donut. So I got a lemon, which was basically made from like a South Coast lemon and poppy seed, I think. One called Coffee Yum Yum, of course, and a classic cinnamon. And I don't know which order they are. And this one's just the cinnamon. Nice and fresh and warm, and little reward for walking around the shops. It wasn't too bad when I first got here. It wasn't too crowded, and now it's just filling up with people. Everybody comes out. It's a day afternoon, I guess, and it's chilly out. I think the forecast for tomorrow is a top of 7 for Katoomba, because there's like an Arctic blast coming up from Antarctica, which it says can cause snow, which I think it will down on the Alps. Probably won't reach this far up. Anyway, get going. 16 outside, and this time of day is the peak of temperature most of the time. So, like I said, the Arctic blast is meant to hit tonight and tomorrow, and then apparently there's a high pressure system off the east coast which is going to stop everything and just start causing rain across the east coast. Anyway, easy. Come on, Sam. There's a bandicoot that's been hit on the road. Come on, Sam. Sad. Monday morning, and it's done it to us again. It rained all day Sunday, even into the night, which is why the ground's still wet. And what a beautiful looking day we have today to go back to work. My wife did want me to do some stuff in the yard, but when I ended up having that appointment on Saturday, or I took the appointment on Saturday and followed that up with grocery shopping, the day was gone, because when I got home, I had to put the stuff away, sat down for a little bit of a rest with the dogs, and then she said you should take them out for a walk because it's going to rain tomorrow. So took them out for a walk just in the late afternoon, came back, finished putting groceries away. I was like, nothing done in the yard. And then I spent Sunday ironing all my work clothes while watching She-Hulk. A little bit behind on that, but I decided to watch that while I was ironing. But the reason I had so much ironing was because I didn't do it last week, and so my shirts were just piling up. I'm glad I've got enough shirts to do me quite a while. A little ridiculous when you think about it, but it's good to have a little bit of a change. When I look at some of the shirts that I've bought, like I think it was 2019, the start of that year, I bought some new business shirts from Costco. They were nice cotton, just plain blue shirts. I think I bought 3 of them and sort of used those in amongst the other shirts. And it's amazing, like the tips of them, the tips of the collars get destroyed, and around this section of the collar, because I guess because I'm not just sitting there working in an office, I am actually working in a workshop environment, in a construction environment, in a business shirt. I get very sweaty around the neck. It tends to get very dirty and oily, and after a while you just can't get that stain out. And some of them even, because that's like a very firm point in the collar, they get frayed here. Because, I mean, you've got to wash them all the time, don't you? 2019 to 2024, I think the first one I disbanded last year, and just a couple of weeks ago I discovered that another one had started to tear along here. But that one's no good anymore, so I've got one of those left. In amongst all the extra shirts that my wife has bought me. Additionally, because she's had to buy me bigger shirts, because I gained a bit of weight. I have a timetable meeting first thing this morning at one of the other campuses with the timetablers from each campus, which was initiated by the college deputy, to try and make sure that we're all on the same page, especially when it comes to cross-campus teachers, so that we can get the best for them. Now, I've got 2 cross-campus teachers this year. One in Year 12 who's doing a favour for both myself and Hizzy, because one of my staff who's taken time off this year was the business services teacher. Business services is actually a Hizzy subject, and so senior campus has their business service teachers teaching Year 12 this year, and there's a chemistry teacher from Shelby, I think, who's teaching Year 11 this year, so she'll be at our campus again next year for Year 12, and we basically got to cater for any others that put their hand up for cross-campus teaching and have been approved. Now, in most cases, in fact pretty much all cases, it's people from the junior campuses who want to teach a senior class to maintain their competence, I guess, with the subject, maintain their touch with it, gain some experience teaching senior classes, because in some cases there's been teachers who have been in the junior campus their whole career, and so they've never taught a senior class. If you want to move to another school, especially if it's a advertised position, you want to make sure you've got the skills. So it's usually people from the 3 other junior campuses wanting to come to us or to senior to teach a senior subject. I've taken in hospitality teachers quite a bit over the 20 years, and I've had teachers from 2 of the junior campuses. Science has taken them on. I think English has had them once. Hizzy has had them a lot because of all their different subjects. Maths has had them a couple of times. I don't think there's ever been a PE cross-campus teacher. There's been Kappa cross-campus teachers a few times. And it's really hard trying to cater for a cross-campus teacher because they need to have time to get between campuses. Now, many years ago, they were given an allowance to be able to get to and from, but in reality the allowance just gave them a little bit of time in lieu of travel time, but the travel time would mess up just about every campus. Maybe 2015, 16, when I was catering for a cross-campus teacher, once the lines were set up, I locked the line that person's subject was on to first thing in the morning or last thing in the afternoon. So the teacher either came to us first, had a class and then travelled, or they went to their other campus, taught, then came to our school for the last period and then went home. And it reduced their need to drive. It also reduced the burden on the other campus because of the having to allow for them both sides of a class at us. I actually got thanked by the other campus in that case, because when I sent them that person's timetable and said, here's when they are, and they said, this is so much better because I don't have to allow so much travel time. It's only going to affect one period around their lesson with you, not a period either side. So I've done that ever since. It has been difficult at times when you have Year 12 teachers carry over and then you get a new one in Year 11, so you end up having multiple lines needing to be locked. And that can really, really, really tighten up your timetable and make it really difficult to get a clean timetable for the rest of the school. And it develops a little bit of resentment because you end up catering your timetable to surround one or two teachers in the initial stages, as opposed to catering to your student body. Very rarely do you have teachers want to go from a senior campus down to the juniors. In our campus, we're 7 to 12, so people rarely want to move anyway. The meetings this morning, we'll see what we can do. It's very difficult to synchronise timetables when our periods are different lengths of time. I know initially they sent out the email and said, like, how does Monday morning 8:30 sound? Like, so it starts before school, but we will miss period 1. So they expected to go for an hour. I said fine. I'm missing year 11, but I said fine. Another one said fine, and then another one said, yeah, sorry, I can't make it. I saw red, and I emailed the deputy, the college deputy, CC'd my principal, and I said, look, when we're trying to work on getting a really cohesive college, because there have been some issues recently, and we want to try and work our timetables to do the best we can for the cross-campus teacher and each campus involved, and inherently for the students, then when a meeting like this is called, it needs to be just said, look, this is a mandatory meeting, just like the head teacher planning meetings are, the DP meetings are, the principal meetings are. Now with DPs and principals, fine, they're not on class. But when our planning meetings are made for the head teachers, you're just out for half the day. No ifs, ands or buts. Like, you go to that meeting. The only time you wouldn't go to that meeting is if you're relieving in a different position, or if you're on a predetermined, like a pre-organised PL that you can't get out of. And that's what I said to them. Unless somebody is sick or already has a pre-existing PL that's been paid for and they have to go to, or for instance, like my mandatory training I just had to do, I had to do it. But I said, being that this is for the college, it should be mandatory, and timetablers just get told the meeting is now, that's when you have to be there. Included my principal in it because I'm completely transparent, and I also said feel free to pass my thoughts on to all the other principals, and they thank me for my concern. They thank me for my point of view. I get along really well with the college deputy. I've known her for years. I've been around for quite a while, so I think people... I don't speak up very often too. I don't speak up very often, but when I do, it's a legitimate concern. And that was one thing my previous principal said. He said, you're very quiet and reserved, even in meetings, but when you speak up, we know you've put a lot of thought through what you said, and it's for the betterment of the school, the college, whatever. Geez, I got on a rant then. Sorry. I need to breathe now. I've got myself worked up. I've got to breathe. I'll continue listening to Shop Sounds podcast. I think that's what I'm listening to. The one with bourbon off. So yesterday's meeting went well. Timetable one. It was basically to work out timelines to make sure that we could all work together, and to see how we can help our cross-campus teachers. Obviously, there's meant to be 4 next year. One going from senior to a junior to teach maths, to get the junior experience, obviously. 2 continuing on at senior schools, like one going from one of the juniors to senior for industrial tech, timber. Well, our one is doing chemistry. And there's meant to be another one wanting AB studies next year, either with us or senior. I think we've put our hand up first because I think we tend to get it a little more often because it's an elective. In terms of timelines, we seem to be the earliest. Like, because I said, like, we start with subject selections week 3, and basically move through from there and ours is a little bit more complex because we've got 6 year groups to consider, seniors and juniors, and trying to allocate to those is difficult. But in terms of the lines for the cross-campus teachers, the lines are set pretty soon, but the times that they'll be on is the difficult bit, because you need to have every class staffed before I can press the button to try and get some form of a timetable. And even if the timetable's not perfect, I'll use that initial bit to lock in when those periods would be. I then had year 8, period 3, and they were so happy to be getting into the workshop because we have not been in for so long, with me being DP or us having merged classes. And so we were working yesterday, it was really good. Today, there's a reward excursion for attendance. The kids are going into the city on a harbour cruise that's taking out 12 staff, 6 teachers, 6 SLOs or whatever. Because of that, we're not sure if all the kids will be coming. There's a lot of people already out. There's a lot of cover and a lot of mergers. Apparently 37 mergers across the day. So I thought I would check. And sure enough, I have year 8 merged with another year 8 class because the other teacher is away today. And I thought, I've hardly had my class at all in workshop. What's the other teacher? Because we've got 3 classes happening at the same time. What are they doing? And they're merged with a cover class. So yeah, mergers all over the place. I think the next time I have year 8 after today is Thursday, and that'll be the last one for the term. And I did say yesterday, look, this project could stretch into next term still. We're meant to be doing digital tech next term, but I might break it up with the odd period in the workshop to get this project finished, because some of the kids have worked so hard on them. I want them finished. They want them finished. They don't want to see the term being like that, this project time being wasted. Ever since I started feeling sick up in the deputy chair, because I just thought, look, I've got a cold, I don't want to give anybody else a cold, I started wearing the mask again. Because I had to keep going into work, and it was just, I thought it was just a head cold. Turned out to be influenza A, be off work, and made me very glad that I'd been wearing the mask. When I was back walking down to the leadership meeting yesterday, head teacher English said, oh, tested negative. I said, yeah. And I said, and he just asked, like, was this your first time getting COVID? And I said, oh, it wasn't COVID. I said, I had COVID before, but this time I had influenza A. He goes, oh, that's going around. Yeah. He said once upon a time you'd be at school, you'd be at work, and it'd be like, oh, I've got a little bit of a cold, that sort of stuff. And he goes, now it could be cold, COVID, influenza A, influenza B. There's teenage kids getting pneumonia. When we're talking about all the people going on the excursion and all the people who are out sick, like run down to the end of term. The maths head teacher said that she's got 3 staff out with COVID. One of the science staff had been out sick. Hers was just a really bad cold that knocked her about. One of my staff had apparently gotten really sick on Thursday and but she still went in to work because she was part of the catering, and well, the kids do the catering, she's like helping manage it. But when they had the NAIDOC day, and that's what it was for, and after all the food had been taken out and set up, the deputy sent her home. She said, go to a doctor. So got tested, came back negative for all the bad ones. She was just really sick. I am wearing my mask every day again because I've just gotten over being sick. I still have the phlegm and congestion in my lungs trying to clear up, and I don't want to get sick again right before the holidays. And when you look at the weather that we've been getting, like yesterday started out beautiful and sunny, it got very cloudy towards the afternoon and then rained throughout the night. Clear sky above me now in the mountains, but I can still see cloud down towards the city, and that's one of their concerns about this excursion today, because it's forecast to be quite cold down on the harbour, quite cold all over the place, and a significant chance of rain, and they're going to be on the harbour, and they've got to travel back and forth on the trains. Look after yourself, everybody. We're all just soldiering on. 4 days to go, including today. What is it, Bat? What have you sniffed? Huh? Bandicoots are still being hard at work down here. Look at that. I've got more bandicoot poop to pick up than the dogs. It's all over the place. There's tons of these little holes from them all over the joint. There. Another poop. Another deep hole. Another deep hole. And look what they've done around the tree. They've just dug all up around the roots. Crazy. Isn't it, Bat? Crazy. All this around my sprinkler. A lot of it I think is filled in because we had the rain. It's all over the place up the yard. More poop. More digging. All these little holes. All of this is from them. Glad this grass is taken all right. All of this from the bandicoots. Wow. I wonder if I can hire them to dig out the bamboo. But I don't. Oh. I don't think my avocado is going to survive. And the bananas are getting a little too waterlogged now, I think. I don't know. They've got new shoots still coming out of the middle, and it is pretty cold at the moment. That one's looking alright. And I know the outsides do die off. It just looks a little bit extreme. More little bandicoot holes all over the joint. Let's do an update here. I had Year 10 this morning. One of the students is on to doing lathe work. And had Year 11 just now, and they're still catching up with past tasks that they still need to do. Some online, some doing prac. Quite a few away today, but we're getting to the end of the term. And they realise that it's not that hard to try and do stuff just to get through. Hard to get through, like to do stuff to get 100%, but just to get through, it's not that hard. So we'll see how they go. And we've got parent-teacher night tonight, so it's going to be a long day. Rainy start to the day. Parent-teacher night last night was, I think, successful. It was the first time we've done it where we were all set up in the hall. So all faculties were set up in the hall in big rows, with 2 seats in front of us and everything like that. Barbecue outside for when they arrive, coffee cart. Come in, get your reports, go find your teachers. It had its positives and negatives for me. I'll start with the positives. Where principals and year advisors were up the front giving out the reports, they were able to essentially gauge the way the night was going. They were able to sit there and see the number of parents, conversations, all that sort of thing happening. We also had one of the SAS staff at the front door, who was an information door. Who are you trying to find? Where are you looking? And they were able to point them to the faculty areas. Parents could easily see if their next teacher might be available, if they knew where their teacher was. So if they had a couple of teachers they wanted to see and just say they were all having interviews, they could sort of watch them all and then make their way towards the first one that was available and then move off to the next one that was available without having to go in and out of rooms. It also allowed a lot, like all staff, to gauge how the evening was going as well, around and see people talking and that sort of thing. In the past where we've done it and you're sitting in your room waiting for parents, if like you're not all having an interview at the same time, you're sort of just sitting there chatting amongst yourselves. Speaking of chatting amongst yourselves, because all the faculties were in the one big space, if a few teachers weren't speaking to somebody, they were able to cross-faculty chat. And I saw a bit of that happening. Negatives. Had a parent walking behind me, and I heard them clear as day saying, I don't like this setup at all. I don't know what their reason was, but just to hear a parent saying, I don't like this setup at all, as they're walking behind me. It was loud, and not overtly loud it was just a constant din. And if you think about it, average 54 teachers all talking at once in one room. And because there was talk all over the place, you inherently started talking louder to be heard over the noise around you. And so it just got louder. And there was points where I was sitting there just looking around when I didn't have somebody to talk to, and I could hear specific teachers because of their voice. I recognised their voice, and I could specifically hear them, and they weren't ones that were next to me. My throat's sore from that, from having to speak up. Number one for me, I was wearing a mask, and that was a thing for myself, my own anxiety. I'm in this giant big room with so many people talking. I had to keep, my mask was just on. But when we're in the classrooms, I could still talk at a reasonable level. In there, I really had to try and speak up so that they could hear me over the noise and through my mask. And so my throat's a bit sore from that, from having to raise my voice to a level so that they could hear me through my muffle of a mask, loud enough so that they understood. And thankfully, I only had year 8 parents come up, which was, I think I only saw 6 parents in the evening, and they were the parents of my better students. So I didn't have to talk too much, but even that, my throat's sore. It was crowded. I could see the frustration on some parents, sort of looking around trying to spot people. One elderly lady with a walker, trying to navigate her way through the tables and chairs. I think that there wasn't very wide walkways to get through. Thankfully, our hall got carpeted, carpet squares, square tiles put into the hall, which means that the floor is not cold when you have kids sitting on the floor for assemblies or whatever, but it also does cut down on the echo slightly. So cuts down on noise when you're walking around in between tables during exams. Towards the end of the evening, we were supposed to go through till 6:30, I saw staff packing up at 6 and going, no, we're going to start getting up and moving. I don't see anybody waiting to speak with me. And 15:15, I saw a group from faculty just up and leaving. They're all packed up and leaving. And there was still half a dozen parents there. And even if that parent wasn't waiting to see those staff, they know that the evening's going through till 6:30, and for them to see teachers leaving early, when the deputy came to me and said, I think we'll pack up, and it was 25 past, I said, well, I'll wait until the end. There's parents around. I don't want them to just see people getting up and leaving. As a parent, it would feel like I'm getting rushed out And when I did end up getting up and leaving at 6:30, there was still some parents sitting behind me then, but it was the end of the evening. But I basically just said then, did I do more positives than negatives? I don't know. You might notice I'm already driving slow. I'm giving one of the deputies a lift into work today, so I'm just coming into Springwood to meet them. See you later.